with Coveted Consultant. Welcome to our live video today. Today, we're talking about self-care. In fact, I've titled the video. I called it Self-Care. Why was I laying on the stairs calling to my wife? Now, that sounds like a clickbait title, like I'm going to bait and switch you here. I'm not. Today, I'm going to tell you a very specific story about me laying on the stairs, calling out to my wife. This happened yesterday. This happened to me yesterday. So, before we get into all of that, why do I make these videos, right? Why do we do these things? I make these videos, these specific videos, these live videos. I do them because I believe there should be more conversation about what your business should look like. So there are these mechanical elements of the business, right? Click this, click that, send this email, follow this template. There's kind of that mechanical stuff to do inside the business, right? But then there's this higher order of thinking that belongs only to you. There's this higher order of thinking of how things should work, what you're trying to accomplish, why you want to accomplish those things. And when you're clearer about this higher order of thinking, the mechanical elements of the business are just easier to think through. They're just easier. They're easier to think through. They're easier to execute, etc. I care more about this higher order of thinking. The reason why, the core goals, the essential purpose, I care more about that than I do about templates and click buttons to click and links to use. And there's value in those mechanics, but the greatest value thing you can do is be more intentional and be more clear and be more deliberate about what the design of your business should look like. So I make these videos to speak to that, to attack it from all these different angles, so that you can make the best decisions and grow the kind of business you actually want to grow. It matters to me. It matters to me, and you're here because it matters to you. So some folks are here. Chevy's here. Good to see you. Jack is here. Good to have you. Emily's here. Good to have you. So let me tell the story about me laying on the stairs, calling out to my wife. So, because you might be asking the question, like, really, laying on the stairs, Alzay, a bit dramatic, right? No, for real. Let me tell you the story. So here's kind of the core of what happened. I was before getting on the phone with a client of mine, before getting on the phone, I knew I was tired. And I tried to grab a 30-minute nap right before getting on the phone. And I was able to get that 30 minutes in. But I could still feel the fatigue when I was actually getting on the phone. The first 30 minutes of the call, fine. I was able to hang in. I was doing okay. But somewhere after 30 minutes, I could feel the walls closing in fast. Like I could feel kind of loss of control of my own functions. I was getting hot really quickly, like someone was turning up my internal temperature. I was getting hot really quickly. It was taking like double and triple the effort to focus in on the conversation and listen and pay attention and respond accordingly. I could feel myself losing control. So I excused myself. From the conversation. I took a step out of the room. By the way, I'm in video chat. In this moment, I'm talking to someone that I can see them and they can see me. So I excused myself from the conversation. I stepped out of the room and I was going to go upstairs. I work in my basement, so I have to go upstairs to get to our main living area. So I was going to go upstairs to get a bottle of water, and I made it up about 2 steps. And I took step 1, step 2, and I literally laid on the steps and I called out to my wife. I lost it. I had no more functioning. But Alzay, you could have. Nope, no, I couldn't have. I was off. My body had turned off, and I had gone as far as I was going to go, and there I was laying on the steps. So adult to adult for a moment. How did I get there? How does a grown person end up laying on the steps of his own home, calling out to his wife? What? Like what is that? Furthermore, I'm someone in all these content pieces talk about having structure and process and being in control of the appropriate elements and being an expert in all this, these boundaries, all these themes that would imply that I have a certain amount of command and control over how my days go. And for the most part, I do. For the most part, I guess, right? But nobody's perfect. I'm human, and something yesterday completely broke down. Let's talk about the breakdown. Let's talk about the breakdown that happened in my world, and hopefully you'll find this conversation valuable for you too. So let's talk about the backstory. Oh, you got it here. Backstory. So let me give you the backstory here and some of the mistakes that I know that I've made upon reflection here. I knew, so this event happened on a Monday. So somewhere around Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in that weekend, I realized that I hadn't taken in enough water. It was in the back of my mind, way in the back of my mind, that Alzay, you probably should have some more water today. But no big deal. Didn't no big deal. So I was aware of that. Monday was a unique day. So this is yesterday for me. This Monday is a unique day because I had an arrangement at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a mentoring opportunity, and I was excited to be a part of it. So but I had to be in place and ready to go at 6 o'clock in the morning. So not wake up at 6 and then get there, but I had to wake up. I was up at 4:30 on this Monday morning, so I could be in place because we were moving. It was happening at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, because I was excited to do it, I couldn't go to bed the night before. So I'm laying in the bed, and I was in the bed at 10 o'clock. I was in the bed under the covers at 10 o'clock, but I couldn't go to bed. I couldn't go to sleep. I was excited, right? So I'm a kid again, right? So I can't get to sleep. I'm tossing and turning. I'm not quite sure how much sleep I actually got this night. I'm really not sure. I intentionally didn't look at the clock because I didn't want to increase my level of anxiety. So I just laid in the bed for however long it was. But so I didn't get a lot of sleep. All right. So I didn't get a lot of sleep. I got up 4:30. I'm on time. I get to where I'm supposed to be on time. I eat a banana for breakfast. Okay. So what I do that from 6 to 8. That event goes fine. Now I have to go I'm on my way to the mechanic. There's an issue we had with the car, and so I was on my way to the mechanic. So I'm driving from place A to place B. I have a series of phone calls that I have to take on my way to the mechanic. So there's like three different people I talk to on the way to and while being at the mechanic. So I'm having those phone calls. I have to engage with the mechanic. I mean, you're at the mechanic shop, right? At the car repair place. So I'm having to engage with him, right? Get that issue settled. So that's somewhere around 10 o'clock is when I'm doing the heavy lifting of being with the mechanic and getting that settled. So then now I got to get home to my desk because I have a call somewhere around 12. So another call somewhere around 12. So I get home with just enough time to get lunch in my system. I do eat a decent lunch. I eat lunch, and I have a call at 12. So I have the call at 12 with a past client. And the last thing I knew I had to do was have a call with a current client at 3. So I was managing my energy. I knew I was tired. I could feel my fatigue throughout the, as this day is unfolding. I could feel my fatigue. But, I was going to hang in here. Like I said, I was going to take a nap before this 3 o'clock call. I did that. I get a good 30 minutes in, and then I'm on the phone with this person. And now about water again, I think throughout this entire story, I think I had a bottle of water. I think I had one bottle of water, and I'm not even quite sure if I had that bottle of water. My memory's not recalling correctly, but I definitely didn't have enough water, and I didn't digest or take in enough nutrients, enough sustenance, enough food throughout these, being up at 4:30 and all the way to it now being 3 o'clock, being on the phone, right? So long day here, a lot of moving parts. Okay, great. So I get to the end, the end of the story, right? So I'm on the call. Body's falling apart on me. I'm trying to get some water up the steps, trying to get some water. I don't make it. On the floor, talking to my wife, right? So my wife jumps up. She comes to me, right? She's trying to figure out what's wrong with me because she has no idea I was going through all of this. She knew I was a little tired, but she didn't know She didn't know that this event had just happened in my world. So she's caring for me, trying to make sure I'm all right. She brings me a cold bottle of water. I take in about a quarter of that bottle, and I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to kind of get my senses back together. At this time, there's a client on the phone or on my video conference. There's a client waiting for me to get back to the phone. So I'm having this conference with my wife. I'm trying to get myself together, but there's someone waiting on me, right? A paid client who's waiting on me to get back to the phone. So I'm trying to get myself together so I can go be an adult, go be a professional, and go re-engage, right? Well, you can imagine what my wife is saying. You're not moving from this place until I know you're okay, right? So we get it together. I get myself together. I kind of settle down. My system settles back down. I'm able to engage enough to complete the call so that we know where we are in that call. And then once that call's over, I hang up, and then it's time to go lay down, right? So I go lay down. Now, let's talk about so that's what happens, right? Like, that's what happened to me. That's literally what happened to me. What's important for me to highlight for you right now is that the story I just told you is not a typical occurrence for me. That doesn't happen every day. I don't have hot flashes. I don't suffer from chronic exhaustion or chronic anything else, for that matter. I'm not perfect. I have my small ailments, but I don't have some illness that some medicated illness that I'm aware of, right? So this is not a normal, typical occurrence. I can't tell you the last time something like this happened to me. If ever, it was many years ago, 10 plus, 20 plus years ago, the last time anything like this has happened to me. My point to you right now is that my days don't typically go like this. I don't get this level of overwhelmed. I don't get this level of frustrated. I don't have this level of anxiety. I don't feel under threat or under pressure like this normally. And I'm having a sanity check. I'm having a pause with you right now. Is some version of this happening to you today? Anxiety, depression, worry, fear, concern, whatever fancy words you put on top of it, whatever business words you put on top of it. Do you feel extra pressure today? That's what I'm directly. Do you feel extra pressure today? Okay. There are things that I do on a regular basis that minimize the daily pressure that affects me. Now, I've had to learn these things over time. There wasn't some lightning bolt or some book I read where I flipped through them one at a time. I had to learn some of these things over time. But I want to share some of these ideas with you. Maybe you can begin to apply them and get some benefit from them in the short term. So here they go. Big idea here is I do not treat my business like a grind. So grind, that's a word we use a lot in business. Business is a grind. Entrepreneurship is a grind. You got to grind it out, rise and grind. What else? If you got a grind phrase, type it in the chat box here. It's all kind of grind phrases that we have. I refuse to accept the idea that business is a grind. Not for me, it's not. That's a picture you can't put on me. Okay. So with this idea of my business not being a grind, one thing I don't do a lot of is I don't drink a lot of soda or alcohol or coffee. I drink a lot of water typically, and I drink juice. Those are the things that I drink. I'm not here to make some health critique, some philosophy change where you should stop doing this and start doing that. What I'm saying is that you can look this up, is that water is a cleanser for your body. It is a re-energizer for your body. You can look this up. This is stuff that's very well documented. Where coffee, tea, soda, alcohol are not. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're taking in too much coffee, tea, alcohol, or soda, right? Water, a balance of water would help flush your system better. And I'm telling you, it helps with all the mental thinking you got to do on a daily basis. There's benefit to putting more water in your diet, as simple as that is. Okay. I have a morning routine, right? So there are things I do in the morning before I begin work. And to make this simple, the phone does not come first. So when I open up my eyes, I do not reach for my phone first. Do you do that? Do you open up your eyes and reach for your phone? Here's a habit I got in because technology is what technology is. I no longer have an alarm clock. When I was growing up, we had alarm clocks. I no longer have an alarm clock. I have a phone. So the phone tells me what time it is. So I'm in the habit, or used to be in the habit, of getting up and checking my phone, not because I wanted to see the messages, but because my phone told me what time it was. So you get up, you look at the phone, you see what time it is, you see you have a message notification, and there you are. You're in your phone, right? And so whatever it is, Facebook, Instagram, whatever your social media is, your email, whatever, text messages, here you are, you're in your phone. You're barely awake. You're barely conscious. And your phone is already driving your day. I try really hard to not let my phone drive my day. So what does that mean for me? So some days I get up in the morning. Some days I stretch. I do that deliberately. I stretch any way I want to. There's clearly many ways of doing it. I stretch. Sometimes I pray in the morning. Sometimes I pace in the morning. So literally I get up and I just walk around my house. I just walk around. Sometimes I fiddle with things. I'm up. I'm just trying to be awake. I pace sometimes in the morning. Sometimes I do all three of those things in some mix. I read something, anything. I read it. On paper. Sometimes I write, I journal in the morning. Sometimes I just write whatever's on my mind, or I may even call it a journal. But all of these things that I'm describing are to make sure I'm not going to my phone and getting sucked into business within being awake for the first 5 minutes of the day. Nothing in my business is that important. Nothing in my business is that important. And I would submit to you that nothing in your business is that important. Self-care, right? Self-care, okay? Something else I've learned to do over time is I work half days on Friday. And really, in my mind, I think about Fridays being a day off. And for about a good, almost a year, Fridays were literally a day off. I did nothing business related on Friday. There were some Fridays where I didn't even open my computer. Friday would come, I don't even lift the thing up. Right. So this is right, a work day, right? Because the work day has 5 days, right? So a whole day. Right? That Friday, I'm not working. Now, Fridays for me are a half day because at this point, because there's client work. There are specific things that I might get from a client. And so I check my email once on Friday to check and see if I'm getting anything from a client that I need to respond to. So I say half day because I check that one time, and I might take a couple of hours to respond to a client so that they aren't waiting for me to take their next step. But that is half day at the most, right? So, but in my mind, I'm not suiting up to work on Friday. I'm not in my mind. I'm not saying, boy, when Friday comes, I'm gonna do these 19 things. No, I'm not grinding myself out like that. I used to be on a 7-day-a-week time frame: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That used to be my life. Every day I got up and I would grind some more, and I would grind some more, and I would grind every day. If you've been there, you've been there, you've done that, and you know how unsexy that is. Sounds great when some other guy on television is talking about how you got to grind it out, and then you begin to grind it out, and you see how that is just non-functional. Self-care. I set calls by appointment on purpose. You cannot just pick up the phone and call me. You can't do it. You can't do it. I don't get my number out. You cannot just pick up, not me personally. You can't just pick up the phone and call me. No, not. And you can't do that because it's really important to me that anyone that interacts with me has a high level interaction. They get focus, they get intention, they get we have a purposeful, high value interaction. And I have to be able to, I got to be able to prepare for the interaction. Sometimes I've got to prepare the person I'm talking to for the interaction. So we both have to prepare. But if you call me on a random day at 9:42 in the morning, I'm not prepared, and neither are you. So I set calls by appointment. I'm happy to have interaction. I'm happy to talk to people in a structured way by appointment, so that everybody can be prepared for what it is that we're talking about. Self-care. I have a business setting. A goal setting exercise that I do daily. Every day, before I go leaning into my computer and doing tasks of the day, there's a thing that I do on a sheet of paper. It's incredibly deliberate. It's also incredibly simple. And if I showed it to you, you would go, that's it? Like that's the daily planning, whatever. Yeah, that's it. That's all. And yeah, I know that there are these very complex planning systems. You may have bought these intricate planners with layers of ideas, and you've got to flip it over in tiers. And I guess I'm not interested in that level of complexity. It is headache producing. And I'm not interested in that kind of grind. It's a daily thing that I do that immediately manages my priorities, and that's where my energy is focused every single day. Self-care. My business email is not on my phone. So even if you are a valued client of mine, and I very much appreciate and respect my clients, even if you are a valued client of mine and you send me an email, you will not get to me via my phone. I cannot check my business email on my phone. Is your business email on your phone? And how many times do you check your email every day? 200 or 300, right? You're in your phone all the time. You can't think because you're in your phone checking for or sending out the next message. Where else should your brain be? What other things deserve your attention? And you can't give the other things your attention because your phone has your attention. My business email is not on my phone. Yet and still, I maintain a very good response rate for my clients. My clients do not feel neglected. In fact, I've got some testimonials to that effect. Client interaction is very, very important to me. Serving clients is very, very important to me. But I have found a way of doing it where I don't have to be available 24/7. And I would recommend you think about that yourself. How can you do it without being available 24/7? Self-care. Another important thing here, last thing on this topic that's not talked about a lot. When you become better organized, when you start doing the things that I'm talking about doing, that I'm describing doing, you're going to have more free time. There are going to be things that you used to do every day or used to do every month or what have you that you're not going to do anymore, that you don't need to do, that just become unnecessary, or you delegate them to someone else. You're going to have more free time. And that means you've got to decide what you're going to do with that free time. Are you going to use that free time to care for your loved ones? Use that time to care for yourself? Use that time to go for a walk? Use that time to take a nap? Or are you going to use that time to go discover some new fancy marketing ploy and do that thing? Or discovering some new software system and go and do that thing? You got to decide. You got to make a conscious decision on what you're going to do with this free time you now have, because you can waste it, because you can squander it. All right. By the way, am I off my rocker? Am I crazy? Am I speaking nonsense and foolishness? If I am, if you think I am, I take all responses. Or if you agree with the approach, or if one of these items, things I just kind of walked through, if any of those resonate with you, tell me. Put a quote, respond in the box below here. So, all right, moving on here. What else we got? So what should you do? What should you do? One, you got to be honest with yourself. Are you feeling pressure today? Do you have the kind of pressure today that I'm describing that I had yesterday? Because yesterday, again, some new things came to mind for me, right? I was like, whoa, what happened to me today? Like, I gotta think again about how I'm living my life, because what happened yesterday is not okay. It's not safe, right? So are you feeling that kind of pressure? What I experienced yesterday was some mix of exhaustion and hydration or dehydration. That's what happened to me. Exhaustion plus dehydration created what happened to me yesterday. So I got to make some new life choices so that I can function as a better person and as a better professional. Maybe you're not experiencing exhaustion and dehydration, but perhaps you're experiencing some other level of pressure, some other looming thing that's happening in your business or to you, and it's time to address that. Are you feeling that kind of pressure today? Where's the weight coming from? Now, this deserves a really important pregnant pause. It deserves a really, really important, thoughtful pause, because your gut response will say, oh, the pains or the weight, this heaviness is coming from blank. It's because I don't have blank. Think about that a bit more. What's creating this dynamic? You feel this pressure. what's creating that? What 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things are creating this level of pressure? You got to think about that for a minute so you don't solve the wrong problem. You don't put your energy in the wrong place. When you think more critically about where this weight is coming from, only remove one weight at a time. So you probably have done this, right? You're feeling some pressure. Someone sells you a program and you go, yeah, I'll buy this program and take all my pain away. And, you know, it requires you to do 9 different things at once. You can't manage all that. All you end up with is more pain than you had when you started. So you've got to be more intentional, more deliberate, more specific about, I need to get rid of this issue first, get rid of that issue third, better understand this issue fourth, so I can then do issue number 5 after that. You got to be more deliberate about what's happening with you and the approach you take to resolve it. So only remove one pain at a time, or remove one weight at a time. What needs to happen every day? So I know in your business, there are 100 things happening at the same time, and they're all important and they're all happening at once. I got it. I know. But what needs to happen every day? Of all those activities, of all those things, what should be happening daily? I would submit to you that all those things that are going on in your world right now don't need to happen daily. Some of them can wait, but some of them need to happen every single day. What are those things that should happen every single day? These are just moments for reflection. Allow it to kind of work through your brain and see what you come up with. Last note here, as you think through this, you're going to have some free time. As you begin to better focus your energy here, you're gonna realize that, man, there's another hour a day. I'm finished working 30 minutes earlier today. There's a whole work day. My whole Thursday is now totally different now. What are you going to do with that free time? You may realize that now that we're saying this, that you've got free time right now. You've already freed up some time, but you're misusing how that time is being applied. Moment of reflection. Let's figure it out. Let's be honest about this. Because the misuse of that time, the misuse of your time, opens up the door for the kind of thing that happened to me just yesterday. You get up early, right? And what I needed was one thing that was outside of my normal. I had to get up earlier that morning. And getting up earlier yesterday morning got me up and functioning at 4 o'clock. I'm not normally up at 4:30 in the morning, but got me up early, which showed all my bad habits to me. You haven't had a lot of water today, Alzay. You're not really eating like you should have been. You've been doing 100 things today, and now when you get to the end of your day, you just don't have enough to finish. Life revealed that back to me. So again, I got to make some new life choices. So you got to decide what you're going to do with your time. How is your time best spent? Because perhaps this pressure that you're feeling is because you aren't best leveraging your own time. Self-care. The better you care for yourself up here, the better you understand these dynamics, the better business you run down here. But it's really hard to run this great business if your fundamental approach is broken. How about that? All right. Questions, comments, thoughts. So far, so good. Okay. So far, so good. All right. Well, I will check one more place here to see if anybody else has any questions, comments, or thoughts for today. I'm checking. Bear with me here. Nope. So far, so good. Well, good people, I'm not going to hold you. I appreciate you for being on these videos. I trust that you enjoy them. If there's a topic you'd like to cover, like me to cover, or you got some questions or what have you, post those below, and I'll make a list of those and we'll address those. I won't hold you. Thank you so much for your time. Talk to you soon. Alzay Calhoun with Coveted Consultant.